Before we get started with the video today, guys, I want to let you viewers out there know that only a small fraction of you guys currently watching are actually subscribed to my channel, so make sure to smash that subscribe button for instant updates about videos that I release and other announcements, and also smash that like button to help my channel out. Enjoy the video. Yo, what is up YouTube? It is Samool here back with another Epic 7 YouTube video, and today I'm going to be talking about the units that they teased on stream that are going to be released for the drop rate up banners, and which ones to prioritize, because there are a lot of units coming within the next few weeks, and most of them are actually pretty decent. And I know for sure that because of the collab in the summer, Assyria, and the other pretty good units that came out like Vivian and Lilius, that a lot of people don't have a lot of bookmarks and Skystone saved up. So you're gonna have to pull only a select few, and you guys are probably wondering which ones to prioritize, because you guys probably already know that Landy, Tamarinne, Luna, all pretty decent units, but which ones are, you know, worth pulling the most, right? So just getting into it right away. So Ken and Tenebria are the two non-limited units. I guess Tamarinne is also there, but Tamarinne should be limited because she's so OP. So Ken and Tenebria, let me go over where I think they're good. So Ken's pretty much only used in like Golem, and Golem is like never really farmed. Also his artifact is pretty bad, Samsara Prayer Bead, so I wouldn't really focus on his banner at all, just ignore it. He's a pretty bad unit and his artifact's pretty bad. He really needs buffs, and so does his artifact actually. So don't worry about his banner too much at all. Alongside him we have Tenebria. So Tenebria is a little bit better actually. Tenebria is used in like Earth Expedition, Golem, right? You can use her in like some raid. The only thing is she doesn't really do anything in PvP anymore. She used to be good in control comps, but like control kind of died. And where she is used in PvE, she's actually replaceable. The only place where she's actually very strong in is like Earth Expedition, but even then, if you don't have Tenebria, you don't really need her to actually have a good Earth Expedition team. And Expedition teams should not be like a super high priority for free-to-play players anyways. You can always worry about that when you get into like late game. So for her, I wouldn't really pull for her unless you're like a mega whale and you want to pull for like your imprints for Spectres and everything. Then she's actually worth it. But her and her artifact are pretty meh in my opinion, so therefore they are in the meh tier, and I wouldn't really recommend pulling for them. I think they're pretty bad. So that leaves 3 banners, right? So it's going to be Tamarinne and the 2 limiteds. So I think the worst of the 3 is actually Luna. So Luna, although she got buffed, she's not used in PvP still needs help in that area. She's not really that great, even though they tried to, you know, give her more usage in PvP. Still not good in PvP, but in PvE, the buffs made her pretty strong as a single target damage dealer. She was already pretty good in like Fire Expedition, and I guess like Raid, I guess, if you used her over Commander Lorena. But the thing is, you can always replace her with Commander Lorena, a free 3-star. Although Luna may be better in some circumstances, keep in mind Commander Lorena doesn't take Mola and doesn't take bookmarks, right? And the timing of this banner is really bad for her, because even though she's super waifu and has 2 huge reasons to pull for her, the 2 units that are alongside her, Landy and Tamarinne, are just a lot more worth it in my opinion. The thing is though, Luna is super waifu, right? So if you really like her design, you can pull for her. You're gonna regret pulling for waifus more than pulling for meta units, I think. It might be the other way around for you guys, but yeah, Luna is pretty fun to use as well in PvE, don't get me wrong, but I think the timing is just terrible. Like if Luna was a standalone banner, I think most people will pull for her, but I think a lot of people will end up skipping her because the other 2 units that are alongside her, Landy and Tamarinne, are just too broken. Now Luna's artifact though is very strong, so if you don't get the Draco plate from pulling for Luna, actually just buy it from the powder shop. It is one of the best, if not the best, warrior artifacts in the game. Very powerful artifact, one of the better limited artifacts, and it is limited, right? So you can't pull it from regular Covenant summons or your daily summon or whatever. It won't show up in Mystic banners either, so you really want to make sure you buy it, guys. It is very, very powerful. You could use it on like Alencia, Shu. You can use it basically on every warrior bruiser in the game. So very, very strong. Now to get into the big units, Landy and Tamarinne, so these are going to be your main units that you're going to want to pull for. I think if you're missing one and have the other, you definitely pull for the other one. If you're missing both, well, that's the big problem, right? So I think most people do have Tamarinne because of the 5-star hero selector that just came out, but for the people that chose Sigrid or whatever unit that you wanted, or even missed out on it, I do think that Landy takes priority over Tamarinne. Now let me explain why. So both these units are very powerful in PvE, don't get me wrong. So Tamarinne's used everywhere besides like Golem and Banshee, like literally everywhere, and she's very, very strong. Her kit is very unique. She has so much utility. She actually has a lot of damage with her forward dual attacks, and she just has a very unique kit that's irreplaceable by other Soul Weavers. And then we have Landy, who's also very powerful everywhere except Wyvern. But the difference is in PvE, is even though they're both used in basically everywhere, the thing is Landy is technically sort of replaceable. You can always just slot in another single target DPS like Tibeauthetraveler or like an AoE DPS, like Vildred, like even RB, right, or SSB. But the thing is, Landy's still really good in those areas of content, right? So if you have Landy, you're pretty much covered for a lot of PvE. Very powerful DPS. No debuffs on her S1 as well, so she can be used in every single boss. AoE skills, right? And also, stacking attack buffs are really nice for PvE as well. So very, very strong. Both very powerful, but I do think Tamarinne's a little bit better in PvE just because she's a bit more unique and no other Soul Weaver can do what she does. While Landy, although very powerful and does a lot of damage, can actually be sort of replaced by other units, although you do want to use Landy if you have her. Now for PvP though, Tamarinne's not really used, right? You never really see her unless you have a Saria with her and you're cleaving with her, so that means you can't really use her ever in RTA, but some people do cleave with her in offense and she's not terrible. But Landy is a monster in PvP. She's been a monster since her buff about almost a year ago. Very powerful in arena offense and defense, very powerful in Guild Wars offense and defense, and also very strong in RTA. She's one of the most picked units in RTA at the moment, definitely like a top 5 most picked unit. Even with like Carrot out, right, and like Ravi and a lot of fire units that counter her, even Summertime Assyria, like you still see her picked all the time, like blind picked, and they don't even care about Carrot, right? Because Landy is just a monster, right? If she attacks a fire unit and she doesn't miss with her S3, they're basically like 20% HP. Another thing is Landy is super flexible in her PvP builds because you can build her as a bruiser, you can build her even tankier, you can also even build it as a cleaver, and you can build it on a counter set, right? Life steal set. There's just so many options. You just never know what you're going against when you're fighting a Landy. That's why it's a little bit more scary, right? You just don't know what to expect in the draft. So yeah, talking about the artifacts though. So like I said, Luna's artifact Draco plate must buy. I think out of all these units, it is the most important to buy. Tamarinne's artifact Idol's Shear is very strong, but it is not limited, so you can always get it later. And if you get lucky, you can get it from another, Covenant pull or whatever if you get lucky. And Landy's artifact is also a limited artifact because she's limited. It is called Wall of Order, I think. Basically, it's just like a greater attack buff or whatever that will have a higher chance to proc with more buffs on the enemy team. The thing is, you don't really use that artifact on anyone. A lot of rangers will use like Drink or like just like other artifacts, and it's mostly for PvP, right? Wall of Order. But for PvP on Landy doesn't even want to use that artifact. You're actually going to want to use like Guiding Light for more survivability, or Proof of Valor for more survivability, or Bloodstone, right? So the reason why Landy needs more survivability is because her damage is already fine without greater attack buff. You don't even need like normal attack buff, to be honest with her, although it is like preferable. Her biggest problem is just staying alive in PvP, so you're going to run a survivability artifact. So Wall of Order, although it is limited and you might want to buy it, it's not really used that much. So if you don't get it or don't purchase it, it's not a big deal. I would just make sure you buy Draco plate for sure. And then make sure Tamarinne's Idol Cheer, if you don't have one, it might be worth purchasing as well. Now, Tenebria and Ken's artifacts, don't buy it at all. Unit-wise, Tenebria and Ken, you can just skip on as well. And also, Luna as a unit, I think you could pull her if you already have Tamarinne and Landy. Or if she's really wifey, you can pull for her. But definitely for sure, guys, pull for Landy and Tamarinne. Make sure you try to get both. If not, get Landy, in my opinion. Because Tamarinne's banner will most likely run next spring, so even if you miss on her now, you can get her later. Although technically, if you want to be super efficient and progress through PvE as fast as possible, Tamarinne might be a little bit better. But just overall, I think that Landy is just too good to pass up. She's just a monster in PvP and still very powerful in PvE. So definitely pick Landy and maybe Tamarinne right after. Actually, definitely Tamarinne right after. You can even flip-flop between them depending on your needs. And then after that, you can choose Luna. And then for artifacts, guys, Draco plate for sure, and then Idol Shear and the Wall of Order, depending on what you want. Just Ken and Tenebria, although, I like Tenebria, and I think Ken's a pretty cool unit, but, yeah, they need buffs. I think both those units are not that great right now, and their artifacts are even worse, so don't worry about them too much. I hope this video helped you out, guys. Choose what to pull for and what to buy. As always, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps my channel out, and I'll see you guys next video.